Yo, what's up? This is Gemini, and you're watching my podcast. Yo, what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the very first episode of the Gemini podcast. We have a treat for you. To my right, we have my father, my superhero. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Kevin Rodriguez here. I'm glad to be on today's podcast, and I hope it blesses you all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you don't know who I am, which I very doubt, I am Gemini. My name is Kevin. I am also a junior of him, but I'm a rapper. I am experimenting with this new podcast game, and I plan to have very good things going in the future. So, just to start this off, is there anything you would like them to know about you, or?
Well, I think first and foremost, I'm certainly a God-fearing man, first and foremost. And second to that, I'm a husband to your beautiful mom. And third to that, I'm a father of two. And then I'm also a minister, so we have ministry under that. So
Awesome, man. So before we really even start off, is there anything you would like to ask me?
No, if there's anything that I could say is I hope and I pray that you reach a broad audience. I'm going to be praying for your success, and I think that this can help to encourage, like I said, a broader audience. So I'm going to be listening, and I feel even as a minister, I need to listen to the younger generation. Right, I got to do my part to listen. So
absolutely. All right, well, let's get down to the nitty gritty. As who says?
Woo! Who says that?
Let's get down to the nitty gritty.
I say it all the time.
No, the rapper, man.
Oh, the rapper.
Come on.
Oh, okay.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
He's not. He's slacking on us, man. All right, the rapper. First question, man. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
Like growing up.
Sure. In a nutshell, I grew up in a household of four. I was blessed to have my mother and father the whole time throughout my. They never divorced. My mom passed away a year ago, but coming up, I had my mother and my father in the household. Very good examples of discipline and love and compassion. On my mom's side, my dad's side, very, very disciplined, work oriented, built the work ethic in me. But I had an older brother, then it was me, then it was a younger sister, and then under her, a younger brother.
Okay.
And we grew up together, very, happy. We had tough times. We weren't certainly rich by no means. My dad was usually working multiple jobs to make ends meet, while mom was, home wife, did all the laundry and the household stuff like that, while my dad was in the army, worked multiple jobs, like I said, to make ends meet. So we certainly grew up mediocre. Not, I can't even say middle class, but between, certainly not poor, but we had to stretch every penny, every dime in the household. Going into school, I, started school. They found out early on, for me anyways, I had a learning disability. So thank God that, they saw that early on. They were able to take action in that. So I grew up throughout all my middle school, elementary school, in special education. But by the time I went into high school, I got into regular classes. I pled to my mom and dad and said, please get me into regular classes. So anyways, and about that time too, I was highly involved with martial arts.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the martial arts, the summer of my 8th grade graduation, I joined a Kenpo karate association here. It was called VKKA here in West Phoenix. And but shortly after joining that art, they started having kickboxing. So
Mhm.
growing up, Daddy always was a boxer, so he had us, practicing, shadow boxing and different combinations and whatnot with the hands and slap boxing and so forth. So I was drawn to the kickboxing and fell in love with it. Starting to go into the gym probably 5-6 times out of the week. If they were open on Saturday, I was there. But I was there before class, stretching out. I was really, really, really involved with it, and then started to help even my sensei to teach it, and
Mhm.
it was a very good thing for me. And then coming up right at that transition where in high school I was just going into normal classes, that discipline from the martial arts really helped me out.
Yeah.
I avoided fights, um, but I also had the same discipline with the homework,
Mhm.
that I needed, the work ethic that even my father, but that it all kind of helped
Yeah.
to sort of
Ki-
complement
Yeah.
my studies. So there, then fast forward a few years go by, I meet your mom, and we were high school sweethearts. We fell in love.
Yeah. Give us
Um,
some details on that, man.
yeah,
Get
yeah.
get to the first
Get
step.
to the nitty gritty, right? Like the rapper. Um, we met through my cousin, and it was crazy because I that night I had just gotten out of the dojo and I was sweaty, and I got a call from my cousin, and he's like, "Hey, Primo, we got some hyenas, man. We can go to the mountain, uh, kick back with some girls." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds pretty cool." I had a car at the time. My mom's car was passed on to me,
Okay.
so
Okay.
yeah, so the back window was busted out by a
Oh, what?
bat. Yeah, it was a
Even
long
I didn't know
story.
about
Yeah,
that.
it just came to my memory right now. But anyways, we had it all taped up and everything. So, but anyways, we go out, we pick up, my cousin's friend, and with her was her best friend, aka my wife
My
today.
mother.
And we go to the mountain. We had a little drink, and we're at the top there, and we get to talking and stuff, and just hanging out, chilling. Well, one thing led to another. After that, a couple weeks go by. I was like, that girl was really something. I'm gonna try to get a hold of her. So I through my cousin, I got her number through the friend, and we just started talking on the phone. Then we just started dating, and quickly fell in love. So, but we fell in love. I graduated high school. What, 1994?
Damn.
My wife was 1 year behind, so it took her another 2 years after that. Because she was 1 year behind school, but she was also 1 year, behind me in age. So
Uh-huh.
anyways, she graduated in 96. 99, we get married. We have our own house. I started working at an aerospace manufacturing company, and that I was very successful in. To this day, I still work in the aerospace manufacturing industry.
Yep.
It's been a very good, you know, um, industry to provide our livelihood,
Yep.
and thank God for that. But so started working in the aerospace manufacturing industry, and then I got to work for the same company for 10 years. Thought I was going to be there for my whole life. I planned to retire there. Then I get laid off, after
It's
10
not funny,
years.
but
Yeah,
it
after
was
10
just
years.
crazy.
Yeah, after 10 years, I get laid off, from the place that I thought, man, I grew so much. I went from, mopping the floor to, being a production manager, to being a program manager for all the interdivisional companies, for the Triumph Group at that time, and I just never saw it coming. But
Mhm.
it was on like like what was it, Valentine's of
Oh
2003,
man.
2004, something like that, 2003 or
Keep in mind, I'm
2004.
only 3 years old at this time. You know what I'm saying?
You were young.
Oh man.
Yeah, and Trevor was even younger,
He was a
so
newbie at that point. He was only probably like one, if
yeah,
that.
if that. He was maybe 1 years old. But anyways, that was a learning experience, and it took me a long time because that was right at the kind of the height of all that took place on, the what was it, where the twin towers came down.
9/11.
9/11, right? So we really got hit hard. It was like the year after that, but by that time the industry had taken a dive,
Uh-huh.
and it was really hard to find a job during that time.
Yeah. And how did you get through that?
Wow, my that's a very good question. That was the first time that we had to seek unemployment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I needed help, and my dad had one of his HR friends call me and encourage me because I think my dad knew kind of like my personality.
Mm-hmm.
I always was like, I'm going to work for my keep.
Yeah.
But we really fell on hard times, and we had the bills to pay, a mortgage to pay, and so forth. So because it took me like 3 or 4 months to find a job,
Yeah.
and I was knocking on doors, sending resumes. Anything would have helped. I mean, I was really on the verge of really, like, I was a teenager going with my lawnmower and weed eater,
Yeah.
knocking on doors. Hey, would you like? I was almost right there,
Yeah.
but my dad had his friend call me and encouraged me to go get unemployment. It's not much, but it'll help. Uh, so I had to humble myself.
Yeah.
I had to humble myself, stand in line, and that was a very humbling experience.
Mm-hmm.
And but it was necessary, and you know got the unemployment, and then I just kept you know knocking on doors, and
Mm-hmm.
one thing led to another through one of the engineers that I worked with at my previous employer at that time.
Yeah.
Gave me an opportunity. He says, I can't pay you nearly as much as you were making over there, but we can start you out. They were in the transition of being bought out.
Mm-hmm.
So my friend was actually, and his friend were about to buy that company that they were hiring me. So I was in the transition. So it was still owned by by the original owners, but it was in process of being negotiated, that ownership being transferred.
Mm-hmm.
But I got hired on, and it was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Certainly, had to go down in pay and start all over, work from the floor up again.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a problem. I was just glad to have a
A
a
job.
job, and
Yeah.
but then that kind of kick-started me, and that job propelled me into, they gave me an opportunity after a couple years
Mm-hmm.
to become a manufacturing engineer. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
an engineer by schooling or the
Yeah.
technical
You built
degree
yourself up.
in the trade. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they gave me an opportunity for that. So that was really the catapulting of my
Mm-hmm.
career in the engineering and sales
Yeah.
engineering realm. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And then to my understanding too, you started off just being like a sandblaster, right? Or cleaning tools or something, and then you kind of just ranked
yeah. So
up.
there, I was used to do a lot of manual work with
Yeah.
like grinding.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a lot of work that had to be welded, but weld inevitably has a lot of excess material. That excess material on a lot of the aerospace work
Yeah.
has to be blended or ground down,
Uh-huh.
flush to things. So that's what I did. I started out grinding and things like
Yeah.
sandblasting and
Yep. Yep. Yep.
yep,
Yep.
yep.
All right. Well, shoot. Uh, I'm curious to know this as much as maybe anybody else, but who are some of the people you looked up to growing up? Some of your role models, even from a young age to now. Even.
Yeah. So even before, because early on, I wanted so bad to join gymnastics and martial arts, and we couldn't afford it. So I was that ghetto kid, right, with the rest of the friends, the homies in the hood, West Phoenix. Yeah. So we were the ones where we were doing gymnastics on the street.
Yeah.
And, we'd go find bedding and stuff like that. And so, but also, like Bruce Lee growing up.
Oh yeah.
And then everything that I saw on TV, I did my best to mimic.
Yeah.
Right? I still have a scar on my mouth because I've, practicing what I saw and my leg coming up and kicked myself with my knee, like. But yeah, so Bruce Lee was he was my hero as a kid. But as I was starting to develop as a teenager, I learned of Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, okay.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, and then that was over. That, like, not only was his body
amazing,
his physique, was just top notch, right? And I was very inspired by his physique, but his grace, his the way he moved and everything.
Yeah.
So growing up, though, that was my inspiration. I aimed to be as flexible, as fit,
and then it's crazy because Bruce Lee, obviously from a young age I knew of him through you, and then through Van Damme I knew through you. But I remember seeing Kickboxer for the first time. Ooh. I saw it for the first time. I might have been 7, 8, maybe even younger, and didn't remember.
Yep.
Dude, I remember after watching him versus Tong Po in that scene, dude, I was shadow boxing in my room thinking I was the bomb, man. I thought I was the shit.
What is that? Oh shit, what is that? Who you fight?
I was that's funny, man, and still to this day, if you ask me what my favorite movie is, it's Kickboxer.
Yeah.
Kickboxer.
Ooh.
That actually led on a little bit into around 2008 and 9. Me and my dad, because he's the one who taught me how to throw a proper punch. He's the one who taught me how to box, how to kickbox, how to throw proper kicks. I remember we would listen to Forever by Drake.
Yeah.
Get in that little office area. We'll just be sparring our asses off, man. And that's funny, man. Okay, you and your age now, who would you say is somebody you look up to?
A lot has changed. Obviously, I'm a God-fearing man now.
Yeah.
Wasn't always a God-fearing man. So I look up to, believe it or not, I look up to a lot of dead people.
Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. A lot of the old black ministers, like S.L. Lockridge, G.E. Patterson.
Yeah.
And today, like Bishop Dale C. Bronner, and Terry K. Anderson. Now, these last two, I say they're alive, but they're still very old school, black preachers. I definitely, from a spiritual side of things, I really am inspired by them. I learn a lot from their testimony, their life experiences.
Yeah.
Having the grace of God to help carry them through some difficult times, and so from a spiritual standpoint, from just a general all-purpose, I've always looked up to my dad, my mom. In fact, my dad always said, you got the best of both sides. Like, you got the best of me, son. I attribute that more to the work ethic, but then he says, you also got the best of your mom. I say that as the compassionate side of things. And I think growing up too in special education, I learned compassion. I remember my friend Robert, I always wheeled him in his wheelchair. People would make fun of him and stuff, but I would be the one to help him and stuff like that. But I think that side of me came from my mom. But my mom, my dad, those individuals, and then my very first boss coming up in the industry, in the aerospace manufacturing, Pat Ross, was a wonderful, wonderful. To this day, there are things that bless me, even as a minister, that he said in those days as a teenager, just entering into my 20s, that blessed me to this day. But I would say those individuals really inspired me.
Yeah, I hear you. What was? Let me think of how I'll word this. What is your favorite memory? With me, let's say, and I know that's going to take a minute to think about.
No, that came to me real quick. 0 to 100 real quick.
Shit just went from 0 to 100 real fucking quick.
Real quick. My most adoring moment was, mom's being prepped in the operating, well, not delivery room.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say operating room. The delivery room. And, I was, my first boy, my first child. Well, we didn't even know what you were going to be.
I am a woman. Are you assuming my gender? Cancel.
We kept it secret. We told all the people, don't tell us. This is a secret. So we really didn't know your gender.
And that's how I want to do it too.
Yeah, we didn't know your gender until you came out.
Yeah.
But that's my most prized moment in life, is my firstborn coming out and me being able to touch the top of your head.
Was I bloody?
No, you came out clean.
Wow.
You came out clean. But and you had a full head of hair. But that moment was so special to me, just the life coming out of my wife like that. It was just an amazing, amazing moment. My most prized moment. Of course, there's a lot of other awesome moments, but that's the one.
Were you a little bit anxious, knowing, like, did you get sick a little bit while she was pregnant?
No.
Or
no.
You were ready?
We were ready.
You were.
Okay. In fact, that morning, Mom wakes me up and I'm getting the Braxton Hicks, and we went through the Lamaze or the La Paz, I forget what that word is, but where they teach you of the delivery and but the signs leading up to that point and the Braxton Hicks and all these things. I went to everyone with Mom. Yeah. Right. So that morning though, she's like, I'm getting the Braxton Hicks. So
and the Braxton Hicks is what?
It's where the contractions come on.
Oh, okay.
They're not like really fast, and I forget what the span between, but like we had to be taught, like when it happens so often. At this point, this is when you got to go to the hospital, right? And certainly, if your water breaks, right? Mm-hmm. So Mom's water didn't break yet, but she's like, "Let's go." They encouraged us to go take a walk, so that's what we did. We just calm, cool, collect. We grabbed hands and we just walked down that first street, our first house, and it was early in the morning. Mom will remember the exact time. I knew it for years. It escapes me.
I just know it was on a Tuesday, correct?
I don't even remember the day.
I think it was on a Tuesday, but I don't know like the specifics of the time or anything.
I used to remember the time like for years. I'm surprised I don't remember that right now. Please forgive me.
It's all good.
But we took that walk, and by the time we got home, then the contractions were coming a little bit close. She's like, "Okay, I think it's now," because I think at any point my water can break. So, in fact, I think that before we even left, I believe her water broke. Yeah. And then we went to the hospital. You were born at Maryvale Hospital.
Shout out
Everybody was great. We had the best nurses. I'm sure everybody says that, but firstborn. But we were not nervous though, not at all.
That's insane, because I know when I find out I get a girlfriend, dude, my head's gonna be racing.
We were excited. I don't know. We were just blessed.
Yeah, and also, coming from Mom's side, she's always raised kids her whole life, so maybe it was a little bit easier for her to understand, because at least at this point, it's her own kid.
Yep. Yep.
And nah, man, that's amazing. And then I always joke about this, and people don't believe me. To anybody that doesn't know, when I was born, I didn't cry. I did not cry. So what they had to do, the doctors were telling my mom that they would have to spank me to make sure that I had my feeling or sensories or whatever.
True story.
And my mom's like, no, don't spank him. Don't spank him. Just do the little booger thing or whatever. So eventually, I don't know if that's what they ended up doing or if they did end up having to give me a little flick or something, and then I did start crying.
Yeah, so you came out and you were just observant. Your neck muscles were already developed and you were just looking around. I mean, you recognized certainly voices. We used to sing to you, read to you, even in the womb, but you just came out, man, like alert, and your beautiful eyes, big, beautiful, voluptuous red lips. Right,
I don't know how that's worked out.
Very fair skin, but the lips looked like they'd been spanked 100 times, and they were just bright red. You know, you were gorgeous, but you were clean.
Yeah.
But they had to spank you.
Yeah.
So they forced you to cry. You didn't come out crying. You were forced to cry when the doctor spanked you.
Let's not get started on Trevor, man. And by the way, to anybody that doesn't know, Trevor is my younger brother. He's 2 years younger than me. Oh man, from what I hear, he was a horror story, man. He was crying all the time.
He was.
And then he was a daddy's boy at that too.
Yeah.
I was always on both sides. I am a bit more of a mama's boy, but I certainly have a lot of love for my dad as well. But dude, there would be times where Trevor would be crying, and it would take you to be the one to stop it. And then my mom would get jealous at sometimes, like, boo, I just carried you for 9 months. You're over here on my. That's funny. My brother's a little troll, man.
Come home and she'd be like, God, take him. Come home tired. Okay, yeah, let me take him for a ride. That was the ticket.
Oh man, let's talk about some of the things you have planned for the future, even ministry wise. What do you really have rolling out right now?
So as you know, we've been called to North America with the primary focus upon indigenous lands, right? So our nose has to be in the indigenous areas with the primary focus.
Yeah.
But we see us helping bring recovery homes, right? Like for alcoholics and drug addicts, we see us eventually growing to the point where we're bringing the recovery closer to the reservations upon the indigenous lands.
Yeah.
Right now, much of our work is done in Camp Verde. We're going to continue to keep that as our hub location, right?
Yeah.
But we want to have youth recreational centers. We want to invest in the younger generation in the ministry. Very important that we do that. But so I would say that that's our
your
goal.
End goal.
Our goal.
Well, not even your end goal, just your goal.
Right.
You're always going to have something else.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what's up, man. Man, it's kind of hard to transition from that.
Well, and the other thing though, on the note of youth ministry, it's always been a vision of mine, even as a kid, where I was teaching martial arts.
Well, yeah.
So we want to do also in 2024, start right around the corner, right? We really want to roll out what we would call the kickbox fitness. So the kids get to learn all of the techniques, how to properly throw a punch, even how to defend yourself without having one-on-one contact, and only doing it as a fitness. So that way we help the kids become disciplined, with their elders and authority, but also be disciplined in their health, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So having good exercise and all that, so that fitness would be good to learn that discipline, that art, but doing within the confines of fitness.
Yeah, and it also gives them a positive place to hang out with,
absolutely,
too, instead of being out on the streets, smoking weed with their friends or drinking.
Joining gangs, all that.
There is a big epidemic in the Native communities where they are tending to be a bit more obese or a bit more alcoholic. And I'm not saying that's all of them. This is just statistics. But it gives them somewhere to go where they can have fun. They can bring their own friends. They can work out. They can work on their health, and then having you of all people, the most positive person I know, that's going to be an awesome thing for them. So, no, that's awesome, man. And then, shoot, let me think. I know this is going to be a weird transition. I want you to name right now your top 3, and think about it hard.
Okay.
Top 3 favorite movies of all time.
Top 3 favorite movies of all time. Okay.
All right.
Absolutely number 1. Stand By Me.
Stand By Me. Okay.
Number 2, Breakfast Club.
Breakfast. I saw that coming. I saw that coming from a mile away.
3. Between those two, I'm gonna say Goonies.
Goonies. Okay. So we got Stand By Me, Breakfast Club, and Goonies.
Yeah.
Those are all amazing movies, by the way. Let me think of mine. I would have to say number 1. I already stated Kickboxer is my number 1 favorite. Number 2,
yeah,
just out of nostalgia, Cradle to the Grave.
Ooh,
You know I can't.
X gonna give it to you.
We grew up on that. I'm surprised we even still have the original CD. That's how many times we played that. Number 3, I got to go Forrest Gump. Just because Forrest Gump was a good one for me, But honorable mentions, we got Sling Blade.
I reckon that's a good one.
We got Sling Blade.
Yeah.
We got Rocky from 1 to 4. I haven't seen any after 4, I don't believe, but Rocky was amazing.
Bloodsport, you can't forget Bloodsport.
Bloodsport was awesome.
But
when you have Kickboxer and Bloodsport, they're so good at the same time. I had to pick one of them. I went with Kickboxer. But Bloodsport is amazing.
No retreat, no surrender.
No retreat, no surrender. You guys won't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
I was lucky enough to be in a household with my parents. We had VCRs when I was a kid. We were watching old movies, man. We knew we know what's up.
Yeah.
Oh man. How do you feel when like Van Damme does the splits? Does that hurt you a little bit?
Now it does. It does now.
Because for anybody that doesn't know, Van Damme doesn't only do the splits. He'll actually overextend it. And oh man! And I have pictures of my dad. Well, I'll try to edit some of them into this interview, but
I'm not that flexible no more.
Dude, he was able to kick his whole entire foot in the air, man. I have it hanging in my room right now. How long do you think we've been so far on this? Maybe 30, 40 minutes?
20, 30 minutes.
20, 30? Yeah, we're going to keep this ball rolling, man. All right. Now, leading into the next thing, top 3 favorite rappers. And really think about this because your son is an artist right now.
Yeah. Well, man, top 3 favorite rappers. Ooh. I'm going to go, Be Real. I'd have to, for majority of,
So that's
all things
1.
considered, because I came up in the 80s too, so I remember the early hip hop too, and I loved it all. I'm gonna say Be Real from Cypress Hill, number 1.
Okay,
Be Real from Cypress Hill, number 1. Number 2, man. I'm gonna say Tupac.
Tupac, number 2. Okay, that's fair. I mean, that's fair.
Number 3.
No disrespect to Pac. I love Pac.
Number 3, I'm gonna say. Oh man. You know what? No. I let me get it.
All right, go ahead.
Number 2, Method Man.
Okay, I can definitely see that.
Number 2, Method Man. Number 3, Tupac.
Okay, so we got Be Real number 1, Method Man number 2, Tupac number 3.
Yeah.
I'm gonna quiz you right now. I'm gonna ask you, who do you think are my top 3? Starting from number 1.
I forget his name. He has that. Oh man. Not Prodigy.
Mobb Deep.
No. I know the song that I'm thinking of, but
how does it go?
The one where he learned of his mom being raped or whatever.
Oh, Immortal Technique.
I would think
Okay.
him number one.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
I think number two, you're gonna go Eminem,
Okay.
and then number three, I'm gonna say Nas.
Damn, that's actually pretty accurate. Okay, so number one for all you guys, Eminem, and anybody that's hating on Eminem saying he can't, dude. All right, you're done.
Yeah, come on,
You're
now.
done.
Come on now.
You're done.
Come on, man.
Eminem is the best rapper of all time. I will argue this until I'm in my gravestone.
He's good. He's good. He's good.
Number two, I would have to go Big L. Big L certainly has influenced a lot of my music.
Big L.
Amazing lyricist. He would be number one if Eminem wasn't a thing.
Okay.
Then number three, I would have to go Nas, man. Nas is
Yeah, he goes
from the
deep.
spliff that I lift and inhale. It ain't hard to tell. Come on now.
Yeah.
But Immortal Technique is definitely in my 10. In my 10 top 10 favorites.
Okay.
I can go on forever. I mean, I'm surprised.
And his lyrics are, I mean,
deep.
it's deep. It's
cut.
deep. And they're spiritual. Some of them are spiritual too. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't say Brother Lynch for yours.
No. I did have my season there. But no, I wouldn't think that he was definitely up there in the top 5. But
because you were, and listen to this blasphemous thing my father said. The most blasphemous thing I've ever heard in the world. Keep in mind, Brother Lynch, I love his music to death. He said he was a better lyricist than Eminem.
Ooh.
How do you explain yourself with that?
Yeah, the crazy thing is his music was very dark and evil.
Yeah,
right. But just looking at his talent, he was very, what do you call that? Underrated.
Yeah,
that was how I thought. He was very underrated. Now, but his music was truly sick, right? But,
yeah.
Lord forgive me, because I used to.
No, I still listen to that. Hey, don't put me in that category.
He is definitely talented.
Yeah.
If he became a Christian rapper, I'd be like, yeah, go Brother Lynch. And
we still love you, Brother Lynch, by the way.
Yeah.
We still
no matter what, we love you.
Oh man, that's crazy, man. What about some of the? Because in my opinion, I think hip hop kind of declined after around 2009.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I was able because 2000s hip hop was fire. We had 50 Cent,
fire.
90s we had NW. Ooh. Well, not even NWA. It was more 80s even.
Late 80s.
But 90s we had Pac, Biggie,
fire,
Method Man, Redman.
Fire.
What do you kind of agree with that? Like 2009 was kind of the age where hip hop started kind of declining a little bit.
Maybe even just a little bit after that, but yeah, the hip hop today, I can't even identify with.
Yeah. And then there's a crazy comeback right now, in my opinion, in hip hop, because we went through a whole season of where it was just kind of mumble rap, kind of you don't even they're all on drugs.
Yeah, what was that?
But I feel like now, maybe the last 3 years, we've been getting more artists now that kind of are getting back to going back into lyricism. Obviously, we still have our degenerate rap, and I'm not going to call out anybody. I think we can all understand who we're talking about at that point. But I feel like it's making a comeback, but the comeback is it's not as popular. Now, well, not even nowadays. Ever since maybe I think 2012. When I moved back here from North Carolina, is when the mumble and all that started getting really crazy.
Yeah. Yes.
But 2015 is when it was like really bad. We had like a lot of these SoundCloud artists, and I'm not no way gatekeeping. If that's your way you make your music, that's completely fine. And I got music I listen to that you might not like even also.
Yep.
But recently, but we still have like our Hobsons.
Yep.
We still, even through all that. Weird
Hobson,
era. We still had our Hobsons.
Yeah,
we had our Joyner Lucases, our Tokens, our Lecrae even.
Yeah,
Lecrae even was, but he's been popping since early 2000s, to my knowledge. Man, how did you when we recorded our video to Molotov? How are you feeling playing the bad guy?
Um,
To anybody that
I
doesn't
just
know,
followed your lead, man. I didn't know. I didn't have the vision like you did. Obviously, it would be, But when I see it, how it came together, that was pretty brilliant.
it was pretty good, man.
That was brilliant.
And then
to the walking away, him laying there on the,
keep in mind in the scene where I shoot him, that took at least 15 times for you to fall down properly.
Yes. We had to go over. You were very meticulous with that one.
I had to make sure we had it perfect.
I think I was sore a couple days after that too. Falling down on the dirt in the New River desert.
Yeah. And then there's rocks and shit.
Oh yeah, man. It was brutal.
Bad,
it was brutal on my body.
He's an old man, you guys. You got to remember, we got to respect the elderly. All right. Oh man, give me a couple questions, man. Anything.
For sure. So, what do you think? Let's go spiritual.
Okay.
Then we'll go political. Right? Because
shit.
it's our.
All right.
It's
all right.
It's overlap, right? And it's things that we got to deal with.
All right.
All that, but
okay.
Spiritually, what can the ministers, my age, older, what can we learn from the younger generation to help guide us in prayer, but also in effort, right, for the community?
Yeah.
What do we need to be listening to right now in this time to serve the younger generation and to help guide them and inspire them? That way.
So I would say for some of the older ministers, some of the guys that grew up in that time where, be a man was kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I think you should actually just listen. You never have the idea. And I've lost friends from suicide and mental health and things like that.
Yeah.
I think it's very important to listen. Look at those small signs.
Okay.
Even if it doesn't seem like much, because I know anytime I'm feeling down, in my whole life, my dad has always been there to like, hey, are you all right? You know what I'm saying? And I just think that's a very important thing. Maybe not judge too quickly, because coming from someone like me, I don't know if, you've had to go through it. Your brother Jesse's had to go through it. I've had to go through it. Where some people kind of assume you're an asshole just by your face, even though we don't mean to look that way.
I try to smile more now,
And I've been guilty. I've been guilty of thinking, like, looking at somebody and be like, oh, I can just tell they're a dick or something like that. And then I go and meet them and they're like the nicest person.
Yep.
Yeah, I would say try not to judge too hard. We definitely live in a new age right now where things are evolving very quickly. We got social media now. We got things like this, other influences and things. I would say just try hard not to judge too much.
Amen.
Obviously nobody's perfect in this world. I commit mistakes. He makes mistakes. We all. If you walk around like your shit doesn't stink, you're fooling yourself. But at the same time, don't lose your integrity either, because there is still a place not to be judgmental, but to be maybe rebuking. Like if you're falling off the short end, your son, maybe your kid, you gotta snap them right back into reality. You can't just be letting that happen. But at the same time, I would just say we just need to spread a little bit more love,
Good.
Love, maybe instead of judging something first, do a little research on it, instead of automatically having an opinion, because everybody has an opinion on something. We may not all agree.
Yeah.
But, and even to that point, my best friend, Eric, me and him debate all the time. But you know what? It never stops us from being friends.
It's a strong debate. Strong. It builds.
Yeah, and then there's things that I can teach him through them, and there's things I might not have known that teach me. That's also why my name is a rap name. There's many reasons. Okay, so the first reason, it's almost like a trinity. First reason, Gemini. Obviously, because I was born in May, I'm a Gemini. I don't believe in astrology, by the way, to anybody wondering. Second reason, I can see both sides of a story. Third reason is because, oh shit, I just lost my train of thought. Third reason is because Gemini is it's almost like Eminem and Slim Shady. You know, you got Slim Shady. You know Slim Shady. You know Eminem. Right now, I'm Kevin. This is Kevin. This isn't Gemini. But Gemini, that's a whole nother person. That's a somebody that. So you'll get a mix of both of them at the same time. But
Come back, Kev. Come back.
come back, come back, come back. All right, but no, yeah. To your question, yeah, that's what I would say. I say even to people my age, not even elders. I think we should all just love each other a little more. Life's too short to be uh, worrying about the little things. You know, even in our own family and things like that, where we have disputes and people don't talk to each other and things like that. It's just so it's such a waste of time because when you're on your deathbed, those are the things you're going to be worrying about.
Amen.
What if I could have spent more time doing this with my family instead of being angry? Because the money doesn't matter now. I'm about to die. I could have $2 million in my bank account. I'm dying. Okay, so what am I going to do with it? You know, it's the experiences that you live in life that really matter.
Yeah.
And that's why, honestly, I even wanted to start this podcast is to document, you know, not only us and our guests, but just to have something for even my kids one day to watch and understand how things were going at this point in time.
Right,
you know?
right. Relatability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's good. That's very good insight for the younger generation. It makes me, and ask even upstairs for help, to keep my ears open, not to be so judgmental, especially like now with suicide.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I've never seen it like this in my whole life.
Man.
I mean, it was rare as a kid growing up that kids our age, but now you got kids, 10, 11, 12, to get bullied, and you would never even imagine that, right? But rather than to judge something, look for the opportunity to somehow inspire, even if you have to turn a cheek to certain things, if it ain't detrimental, but to appeal to the soul with something inspiration. Because you never even know when just putting a smile on someone's face for that day could have prevented them from,
absolutely,
hey, I am somebody. Someone recognized me, and maybe it's because we saw some hurting or whatever. But all those signs, those little signs that you were saying, is very important to be to recognize that. So that's good feedback. Good feedback.
And another point to that is even sometimes some of the people that go through the roughest things have the biggest smile on their face.
Oh man! Sometimes you would never know.
Rest in peace, my friend Omega. He was the nicest person ever. He was always nice to everybody. He was always laughing, dancing.
Yeah.
You would have never imagined. Robin Williams, you would never imagine. So sometimes even not even seeing the signs and just being nice in general,
right?
That can
just be nice.
It can propel to a lot of, no matter your race, sex, religion, none of that. Just be nice to people,
Amen. Just love people, be kind to people.
Yeah.
This world needs more of that. Whether you're a believer or not believer, like you said, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Amen. Amen. Good feedback.
Absolutely.
So from a political side of things,
okay,
and I say that only because there's a lot of uproar in the world right now. We can't deny it. From China to Israel to Russia, Ukraine, and here in the United States, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think is the most what is that thing, whatever that is, right? What is that thing that you think is causing the most detriment, not just in the United States from a political standpoint, but
in the
whole world, given the fact that there's so many wars, there's so many, genocidal movements, and of course this is no new thing, right? But in today's world that you see, what's on the news, from your generation, what's that one thing that you think is causing the most detriment to the world?
Actually, I have a very simple answer for that. It's just hate. I mean, I'm going to have to answer this spiritually, even though it's a political question, but the devil's walking the earth right now.
And
we, as much as you like it or not, even that sweet baby boy that you just gave birth to yesterday, they're born in sin. This is this is nothing new.
That's true.
This world
That's
is
true.
it's
See the overlap? That's
Yeah.
good. That's good. That's
it's a
good.
very dirty world we live in. You know, it's full of hate. There's a lot of hate, whether it's from racism,
Right.
whether it's from religious hatred. I forget the word for that.
But it's a form of discrimination.
I feel like
right?
it's just human nature. Just well,
Yeah,
it's
that's-
human nature to love each other, and it's also human nature to hate each other.
Right.
Especially when you don't have that guidance, in knowing God, believing in God. And by the way, I'm by no means perfect. I'm the absolute opposite, but I try my best. But I think there's an innate feature in all of us where we have some darkness that comes from maybe your parents. Maybe your parents didn't raise you well, which goes back to my last point, and then you adopted that because they were that way to you.
Yeah.
Like racism. I don't think a baby is born racist. I think it's implanted into their brain at an early age. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's there's a study, babies